What's going on, guys? Vanguard back here with another one. So I wanted to talk about JD Vance and the kind of dilemma that I'm seeing right now, and it's with his base. JD Vance's base, the MAGA base, Republican base, and kind of the more, we can say, extreme elements within that group, that camp, and how they perceive high profile white men like JD Vance and his partner selection. Because JD Vance, as you know, he has a Indian wife, an East Indian partner. And I've been seeing recently a lot of people questioning that and bringing that up for discussion. And normally I've never really seen that. For the most part, 95+% of the time, when you hear or see the white nationalists talking about interracial relationships between whites and other groups, they're always talking about the women. They're talking about white women specifically if they have a black male partner, but also other groups. But it's usually always from the lens of white males critiquing and arguing against white females being with non-white male partners, right? And so, but I'm seeing now because JD Vance is the vice president, he's a high profile position, right? Basically second in command. So now they're basically, criticizing him. And there's a couple other people like I've seen in the past with like Mitch McConnell. They've criticized him because he has a Chinese wife, okay, a non-white partner. And then also more so recently, they are heavily criticizing Robert De Niro, right? And they're more so attacking him and his kids, more so than his partner, right? Because Robert De Niro has mulatto children. So I find this like a trend in this that they'll criticize the high profile white males if they go against their kind of political agenda, so to speak. But the average everyday white guy who's going overseas to the Philippines or Thailand or wherever the hell he's going, okay, fornicating or whatever, or even getting in relationships with non-white females, they have nothing to say about that. They basically give it a pass for their fellow comrades. It's only when the white male is in a very high profile position within government, or if they criticize, right, like Robert De Niro, who's an entertainer, but he criticizes Donald Trump, so then they want to attack him, Robert De Niro, and his choices in dating. Because notice they don't really say anything about Mark Zuckerberg, do they? His partner, he's married to an Asian woman. I believe he has a family, has kids with her, so they really don't bring that up. But I started seeing this now more recently with JD Vance because he has this kind of presence of, traditionalism and, family values and conservatism. But his base, a lot of the fringe extremists in his base, they're, like I said, they're criticizing the fact that, wait a second, you got an Indian partner. So check out this post. I saw this on X. Okay. And then this has what, like basically 400,000 views, a lot of engagement. I'm not going to get into all the comments. It has 473, but let's just read this right here. It says, white men in mixed race marriages obviously don't have any special affinity for their own kind. As such, they won't fight for us. This is why they are promoted and installed in positions of power. They can be trusted to gatekeep white nationalism movements. Now, there's not that many that I see of these guys. Like I said, they're taking a position to criticize this guy. And the reason why is because he's the vice president. If he was just some random Joe working at the gas station or the car dealership, they wouldn't say anything, right? And of course, they always push the Jewish conspiracies. We can see right here, and it has this Jewish like caricature, like, grinning with his hands together, right? It says what the Jews want, and it says what the Jews hate, and it shows like two white people. Nobody hates that. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, if people who hate that, they're fucking sick. They're not normal. They're twisted. But I can say for myself and most of the people I know or associate with, like, they don't hate, like, two loving people together. Like, that's their business. We're all adults. That's your business. But it's the conspiracy that they push, that like they're blaming Jews for like adults getting together. These are all consensual adults. Like, the white guy chose his Asian partner and vice versa, just like the white female chose her black partner and vice versa. Like, these are all consenting adults, but the extremist white nationalists, they have to find some scapegoat. So they try to put this imagery that it's this Jew there who's like trying to orchestrate this with media, and he really hates to see white people together. I'm like, this crap is so cringe, but it's so prevalent within their circles. It's very prevalent. I'm just highlighting it, talking about it because for the most part, they've always criticized the white women, right? But now when they see white males that are in power in prominent positions, and then they come to find out their partner's not white. So I don't need to get into all the comments. Like I said, I'm going to post the whole thread in the video description so you guys can have access to it and review it. But this is very interesting stuff. And I'm starting to see this, like I said, with JD Vance here, and then also with Mitch McConnell. They've been saying that because he's in political opponent to like the Trumpers and MAGA and stuff like that. In the Republican Party, he's kind of a thorn for a lot of people. So of course they criticize him, right? Robert De Niro doesn't like Donald Trump, so they criticize him. So that's how it is. But if you toe the line, like, and then you do, like, they all love Candace Owens. You notice that Candace Owens, isn't she married to a white guy? But you rarely ever hear about that, especially within these circles. I mean, this is all public. This is public, X, these pages, but I stumble upon this stuff because of the research that I'm doing. And I never see them complain about Candace Owens. No, because she basically spouts a lot of the same nonsense and talking points that a lot of them agree with. So they give her a pass and her partner a pass. They don't highlight it, that they're in an interracial relationship. No. It's only when you are against them or you critique them in their political stance, then they have to bring up, well, your partner is not white. So just the hypocrisy speaks volumes with a lot of these characters. I mean, I just gave you guys 3 examples, but I know there's a ton others, and you guys could probably share and provide some sources with that as well. But then also it's funny because, one of their kind of champions and cheerleaders within that kind of alt-right space is Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes actually made a couple clips and community posts on our posts on X about that as well. So listen to this. Check out Nick Fuentes and what he has to say about JD Vance and his Indian partner.
JD Vance also has a non-white wife, an Indian wife, and a kid named Vivek. All his kids have Indian names. Who is this guy really? Do we really expect that the guy who has an Indian wife and named their kid Vivek is going to support white identity? There's a white genocide going on in the world. White people are being systematically replaced in America and Europe through immigration and to a much lesser extent due to intermarrying. This guy has a non-white wife and a kid named Vivek. This guy is going to be a defender of white identity? I don't think so.
So I'm sharing all of this with you to let you know that I do see a shift. I see a shift in the critiquing that a lot of these wingnats are giving, because historically, over 90% of all the posts and commentary they give is critiquing white women for their choice in a male partner and who they want to have a family with. But as I said, all of a sudden, once they see high-ranking officials, when they see white men that have influence, like Bill Burr or Robert De Niro, etc., or J.D. Vance, the vice president, or Mitch McConnell, once they see these high-ranking officials with a large influence, all of a sudden, they're bringing up their interracial relationship and their dating patterns. Very interesting. I'm starting to witness this shift. What do you guys have to say about this? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.